is too early, Joe.
I know. Well, not for me. I'm actually pretty good. It's 9 where I'm at.
Like I've had breakfast.
I ate, showered. I'm doing good.
All right, we are on. We're live. Oh my goodness! All right, turn that music off. Let's do roll call. Good morning, everybody.
Woohoo!
Tell us where you're coming to us from. Good morning, Nadeem. Good morning, everyone. My name is Ira Bowman, and my friend Joseph Stepke, he's AKA the finance guy. And by the way, just to get it out of the way, all opinions expressed on the show are our own and not those of Acima Credit.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you doing the commercial for me. So that
You're welcome. Joe, the finance guy, if you're in retail sales and you want to sell more, you need to get on joethefinanceguy.com and figure out how this guy can help you. It is not rocket science. It's pretty straightforward. If I posted a GIF for Joe the Finance Guy this week, and it was a diamond.
I liked it too. I did.
It was a diamond spinning. I thought that's a Joe. Joe would pick that, right? So I saw that and I thought, man, this is it, right? But I was thinking about jewelry, like the jewelry that you want to buy as you look. I put this in the show comments. We've both been married for over 20 years. That's really cool. And not many shows you're probably going to see on social media can the host can actually say that honestly. I mean, so that's kind of cool. So obviously we've learned that happy wife equals happy life.
True.
And don't talk back to the wife, right? I mean, that's what it is. Especially when you marry a New York Italian. Like, I married somebody a little more mellow. But that's why I'm still alive. So, but I was thinking about jewelry that I've bought her through the years. And I was thinking about that stat that's on your site. 69% of Americans don't have at least $1,000 in the bank. And I'm like, man, most of the jewelry that I've bought has been over $1,000.
Right.
And I did finance. I know you don't like to use that particular word because we're talking about payment options with you and not finance. But for me, it was financing. Okay. So I want to, again, this is not an Acima thing. So if you're.
No. It's okay. Keep going. I'm with
you. This is an Ira Bowman thing right now. Okay. So I've had to finance some stuff before because I didn't have the money. I wanted to buy it. I could afford the payments, but luckily for me, I had the credit where I could do it, except for, ironically, my wedding ring. If my wife wasn't with me, so I know we didn't have the traditional, then our kids get on me. So this is what you get with Joe and Ira, by the way. It could be anything. And Joe had no idea we were going to talk about this because we don't script the show. We just and this is
you were going to go into that. So
and we didn't even talk about this in the green room. We were talking about the presidential debate, which we will get into a little bit later. But anyways, I want to finish this thought. So my wife and I didn't have the traditional knight in shining armor, get on my knee, and there's magical lights and all the people do more for their gender reveal of their babies now.
Oh my God, yes.
Than what I did to propose to my wife. So the proposal doesn't make the marriage. I'm just going to say that. But anyways, so my wife and I went to the store, to the jewelry store to pick out her wedding ring together because, we more had a conversation like, hey, I want to marry you. And, we were planning stuff out and it was just like, hey, we need to go get the ring. So that's kind of how it worked. Not romantic, I guess, but if you know me, I'm not very romantic anyway, so it probably doesn't shock you. But I'm more of an introvert. I'm more of a nerd. I mean, it surprises people because how much they see me on social media and stuff, so they just assume I'm the extrovert. But trust me, a lot of this is learned and It's a performance, right? But in my natural state, I am an introvert. Anyways, so we go to the store. Well, we ended up picking something. I think it was $2,700 if I remember right. Right. And we got married. That was a significant amount of money. You're supposed to spend like two and a half times your monthly income or something, and that legitimately was was that for me. I wasn't making very much money, as a waiter, and then I was working customer service. I wasn't making very much money. But anyways, so I didn't have very good credit. I didn't have any money. And my wife had money and she had credit, which was great. So she ended up, helping me, or I think technically she co-signed was the deal. Anyways, I needed
And you got the ring.
got the ring. Oh yeah, and beautiful. I don't regret it. Like it's like 1.5 carat center, or diamond piece. I think that the center stone is like a carat, and then there's a bunch of stuff. It's one of these rings. It's fancy. Like it comes apart. You know what I mean? I always thought that was super cool. So the official wedding ring and the engagement ring they form this one thing.
The one thing. Now, there was something I did not put in the post. I said I bought her the mom ring. And just to let you know, there was a reason why I didn't talk about the other part. I bought my wife's first ring. Good morning, Geraldine.
Yeah, there's a lot of people, Arkansas. I'm curious because it's 6 a.m. here, guys. I literally don't get up this early ever anymore. In full disclosure, I was awake till midnight last night. And that's actually going to bed early for me. I tried to go to bed at 11.
Right.
I just can't because I typically work. I was making a video. I made my last video and I actually published it at 11 o'clock my time last night. Right. So I'm always working. And so for me to get up this early is
and I appreciate that too.
Kind of cruel. But
I gotta tell you the story.
You tell the story. I'm gonna roll through the hellos and the good morning.
So I went and I bought, and this is 20 plus years ago, I bought the wedding ring for my wife. And I didn't ask her for her opinion on it. I just went out and bought it. So when I proposed to her, and I asked her dad for permission and everything, when I proposed to her, she didn't like the ring. She looked at me and she goes, "I hate it." And I went like this, and I was like heartbroken. And her dad was like, and it was so funny. Her dad goes, "Listen, if you don't want to marry her now, I get it. I understand." And I go like this, no. And I just said, I looked at her and said, "I'll take it back. I'll never propose again." and I didn't. She actually proposed to me. It wasn't Christmas, but it was December of 2000 or December of 1999 because we got married January 1st, 2000. She proposed to me and picked out her ring and everything else. So that's how we went. But I'm bad at picking out jewelry.
You got married in 1999?
2000, January 1st, 2000.
We both got married the same year. So my wife and I got married June 23rd of 2000.
Yeah, I was doing it for the Y2K.
Yeah, I call it Michael Jordan Day.
What, Michael Jordan Day?
Yeah, I know you're not a big sports guy, so I'll explain it.
So I know Michael Jordan in Chicago.
Yeah, everybody knows who Michael Jordan is. I mean, you'd have to be a Martian not to know.
Listen, I'm from Chicago. I like the Bulls.
Right. So Michael Jordan won 6 championships. So that's the 6. His number was 23. So I dubbed it Michael Jordan Day. Now you know that I'm a huge Raiders fan. Now you don't even know what sport the Raiders are in, but you know that I'm a Raiders.
Listen, I know they play water polo.
Right. Yeah, they're professional water polo.
Right.
Yeah, score home runs with their footballs, right?
Right, exactly. And they use the puck. I get it.
Yeah. So anyways, my wife, they're silver and black. The color scheme, you might notice the color scheme of my company's logo is silver and black, right? I mean, I'm still a kid at heart. But my wife let us have Raider colors as our wedding colors.
Really?
Yeah. And it was actually really, really classy, as it turns out. It's a good thing I don't root for who's like the Vikings that could have been purple and yellow, you know what I mean, or something. Although the Broncos orange and blue, but the Raider colors actually worked. So yeah, she That was cool.
If I had to do it all over again, and my wife would go with me on this, I think we would have a comic book themed wedding.
I think you should have.
I think we should, and I think if we ever redo our vows or whatever, I might do it.
For 50, do it.
Yeah, 50. I'd probably 25 or 30. I don't want to wait.
I was gonna say you might want
to see myself in the bat suit at how old would I be? My God, I would be 80. Yeah, no.
They can body paint, bro.
Oh God, no. And actually my costume from buyfullbodyarmor.com is coming next week. It should be here. So I'm gonna have
he's not kidding, folks.
I'm really not kidding. Yeah.
If he's a 50-year-old teenager.
Yes. I will be 50. October 30th is my birthday. So
man, I gotta come see you, bro.
Yeah, I please do. I think you'd like the Bat Cave. I know my office is here, but I can't wait to put the bat suit up.
In the Bat Cave. I'm not renting a room. I'm staying in your
house. Well, that's fine. Then I'm good with that. So you can stay in the Bat Cave.
Now, if my wife comes with me, she'll make me pay for a room, but if it's just me, I'll play.
Well, we got wonderful hotels near the.
I'll play video games all night in the Bat Cave. Are you kidding me? Come on.
Oh, you'd have a great time down there.
Yeah,
it really is. It's
all right.
All right.
I kind of want
my story, so I want
to talk about this. I kind of don't. In full disclosure, I'm not going to talk about the political positions or the merits of the parties in the Democrat or Republican Party. Okay, so let's just get that straight. I'm not here to bash Democrats or Republicans, although they make it so easy to bash either one.
I would say you and you know what? For me, I've never. I have a strong. I have a strong belief. I don't how whatever anybody thinks of. I think you should have free speech. Be able to talk about it. I have friends that are Republicans, friends that are Democrats. However, my son comes to me this morning and we were talking about something. And he goes, and it's funny how, and he's in 8th grade, but it's funny how kids, illuminate us a little bit. And my son, we were talking a little bit. He goes, Dad, did you stay up and watch the debate? And I usually go to bed early, but I said yes.
Yeah, because it was 9:30, so you should have been sleeping.
I know I should have been in bed by then. But anyways, I go, yes, I watched it. And actually, I was telling him, I was on Facebook and I was reading some of the things that people were saying. And I go like this, he goes like this, yeah, every time, it seemed like they were arguing, but every time one person or every time Trump was talking to Biden, but then Biden was talking to the camera. I go, well, he's talking to the people. And this is what my son told me. So get this one. He goes, Dad, in 3rd grade, I learned how to debate. And we weren't supposed to look at the audience. We were supposed to look at the person during the debate. That's what you're doing. That was taught to us in 3rd grade. This is my 8th grader telling me this. He goes, so no, when you debate somebody, you talk to that person. You don't talk to the audience. And I went, wow, that's interesting. And I guess you're right about that. I didn't even think about that. Even though that they were, they're supposed to on both sides.
You're supposed to set the podiums up so they're looking at each other naturally. That actually is part of the flaw of the stage. They had the podiums looking at the moderator. So to your son's point, to everybody's point, they were looking, they were positioned. It's not natural to stand like this for an hour and a half, right? And that's what they would have had to do. They would have had to crank their necks at 45-degree angles for an hour or turn their bodies away from the moderator, which could be considered disrespectful too. So, it is what it is. I'm not going to fault Biden or Trump for where they were looking, but their behavior is where unpresidential behavior.
Right.
I want to say, and I'm faulting both guys. Trump for the way he interrupted, Biden for the words that he used. If you go back and watch the tape, if you take your political preference out of it and take the emotion that you have associated with the political preference that you have, right? Because talk about friends, I have family members on both sides that are deeply rooted in their political positions. They both think the other party is the devil. You know what I mean? Like, literally, our country is divided like never before.
Right.
And it seems like party trumps, pardon the expression. I'm not I'm not using it because Trump is Trump. I'm just talking about it. It takes preference or becomes the central issue over the fact that we're Americans. Like, the spirit that we had after 9/11 has dissipated to the point where people have forgotten that we're
Right.
Americans first. Americans first. There's no civil discourse.
Right.
Like, I'm sure your son in third grade, when he was learning how to debate, wasn't taught to, when you disagree with the other person, you should say, shut up. And you shouldn't insult the person on the other side of the podium. You should treat people with respect.
Right.
And neither one of these candidates, who are elderly statesmen, I mean, literally, these aren't rookie politicians anymore. You could say Trump was a rookie politician before, but he's the president of the United States now. And he's been in business forever. He knows you're not supposed to bully people from the pulpit. And Joe Biden, where he was more calm for the most part in his demeanor, still, he called Trump some awful things. Watch the tape, right? So, my whole problem with the tone and the tenor of the debate is the tone and the tenor, not the ideas that they expressed. Because I'm not going to fault either party for trying to, advocate for their positions. And there are clear cut choices in the policy differences, right? My brother, Tim, and I are about as opposite politically as two people can be. And we're brothers. We were raised by the same people, sort of. We have an interesting story because both my parents have been married 4 times each. So we didn't live together the whole time. So even though we're brothers, we weren't exactly raised the same because we didn't always live together. So there's that too. But my brother's a homosexual man. I'm a heterosexual man. My brother's extremely liberal. I'm extremely conservative, right? I'm not a Republican because I don't believe what the Republicans believe anymore. I believe in the Bible, right? And so my ultimate authority is not the Republican Party, and I don't get caught up in the R and the D like most people do. If a
Right.
Democrat comes to me with a good idea that is superior to the Republican, I'm going to vote for that person.
Right.
That's just the way it is for me. So if you want to know how Ira votes, there it is. But this thing is so out of whack. It's kind of like our country, which is why I'm talking about it. We're so politically charged. We've taken logic out of it. And that's the part that is supposed to be, it's all supposed to be about that. The two-party system was never set in place to pit Americans against each other. It was to pit ideas against each other. If you're an uninformed voter, undecided, which way should I go? A debate is supposed to help you figure out which candidate you would prefer to vote for based on not likability, but based on
The ideas.
their ideas representing you. Because let's face it, they both have platforms, right? And whoever wins is going to do their best, maybe, to bring that platform to life over the next 4 years. That's what it's supposed to be. So you're basically, when you vote for them, you're not asking them to vote for how you feel or what you think, because they're not going to come ask you how you feel and what you think.
Right.
But you're supposed to validate their platform, right? Their positions, and they have positions on a whole gamut of things. This is one of the things that makes Democrats and Republicans different. The Republican philosophy pretty much is consistent all the way throughout, and the Democrats have a consortium of factions who come together and say, "Hey, we'll support you for your sexual freedoms if you support us for our cause, whatever that might be," right? And so there's women's rights, and there's, minority rights, and there's sexual rights, and there's labor issues. And look, again, I'm not debating the merits of these positions. I'm just telling you traditionally that's what it's been. But you can go back and watch Clinton debate Bush. I remember at those times, I know you do too, because we're similar in age. Like
Right.
all of these, they've always been pitted or billed as the most important election ever. When Bush was running against Gore, when Bush was running, you know what I mean? Every single time, it's always been hyped as this is the most serious it's ever been. And I don't know that it's any more serious now than it's ever been, but I know this, it's never been more hyped than it's been now. And I've never seen as much charge in the air, right? Where there's like vitriol hate for the others. And I'm like, dude, you all need to chill. Because I'm gonna tell you, my brother, and I've talked a lot, so I'm gonna shut up in just a second. But my brother, again, we are polar opposites politically. But I will tell you this about my brother. He is, without a doubt, and I go to church 3 times a week. You know that.
Yep.
Right? My brother has a heart to help people. He would give you the shirt off his back. If you call him evil, I will punch you in the face. I will punch you in the face. I'm a God-fearing, Bible-believing man, and I will knock you out if you disrespect my brother to my face. I will knock you out. My brother is an awesome person. I don't agree with his management philosophies, his political points of view.
Right.
But his heart cannot be questioned.
Right.
If you question it, you don't know him. And I would say the same about mine. If you get to know me, I give literally people the shirts off my back at times. Literally. Right. So don't tell me that the person with the opposite political philosophy is the devil, because I know better. You're being lazy, intellectually lazy, if that's your opinion. It's not that. What has happened is the hype machine in the media has charged people. And again, it happens on both sides. So for the people to say the liberal media, well, the conservative media does it too, because they have something they're trying to sell. So our country needs to take a collective, like, deep breath. Maybe, here's what I do. I'm going to tell you. I watched the debate on NBC. And I watched NBC's coverage during the debate and some of their coverage after, right? Where you're listening to the pundits pontificate.
Right.
I'm listening to their opinions and their points of views. And of course, it's all critical of Trump and it's praising of Biden. And that's what you expect because it's a liberal station. And I know that because I'm intelligent. So then I turn to Fox. Why? Because I'm intelligent and I know that Fox is going to have the exact opposite point of view. And what I do is I try to consume an equal amount of media from both points of view so that I can know that the real answer is still
and
more.
When you turn on, I'm curious, when you turned on Fox, they were the exact opposite?
100%. Oh, yeah.
I don't know what Fox show you were watching because I watched Fox yesterday.
Fox News Channel.
Yeah, no. Oh, well, I just watched Fox, period.
The Fox channels, just so everybody knows, just so we're clear, the Fox News channels, a lot of those are still actually liberal.
Gotcha. Well,
the Fox News cable channel is the one that's conservative.
Well, looking at when I watched Fox, just the regular news, and I was watching it on the Fox network, where I'm at channel 59, but there was no clear-cut winner.
I actually disagree. I disagree with this statement, Andrew. I think second graders would have been politer, but they acted like second graders for sure.
But going to the and I didn't want to spend. We're going to talk about something happier after this.
We're going to other things, yeah.
I know. But going back, I think one of the things that they said was, and it was something I was watching today. They're talking about maybe if they can't, actually have a debate where they're cutting off each other so that we can find out, it would be more of the it would be more of the, and I want to get back to that. I saw that question on there, the brick and mortar ones. But it would be more of the fact of, all right, well then have the vice presidents go up there.
They are next week
and talk instead.
Yeah, next
I don't think you would get that. I don't see Vice President Pence doing that, and I don't see
Pence and Harris will be much more. But here's the problem, and this is actually one of my issues with the points. So Joe Biden has been in office for 47 years, and Trump was saying, "Hey, if you were going to fix something, what wouldn't you have fixed it by now?" But as vice president, you really don't have any power. If you read the Constitution and the roles as they're established, I mean, you don't get to do much, and it is what it is. So the vice presidential debate, to me, has always been kind of comical. I mean, it's important because they are second in line. I totally get that. That's basically what they're there for. They're a figurehead that's ready to go. And, in this case, honestly, people should consider the vice president role a little bit more maybe than they normally do. Because if we're honest, and not even forget all the antics from last night, which were ridiculous.
Right.
We have two 70-plus-year-old gentlemen, and I use the term gentleman tongue-in-cheek because they're not gentlemen. But the only thing they proved last night is they both need some manners, right? They need a lesson in etiquette, and they need to get control of their anger.
Right.
Because they're angry people. But here's the deal. I have legitimate health concerns for both of them. I really do.
Well,
so,
and I think
president, first time in history could be like, this could be legitimate. Like we go in knowing there's a good chance that we're going to have a secession of power. And the person that's VP could very easily, I think probably is the term that I would use. Not even it's likely, you know what I mean? It's more likely than not that that the president elected this time will not finish their term.
Right.
It's kind of weird.
No, and that makes sense too. You're absolutely right, and I agree with you on that. That
next Wednesday, in case anybody's curious, next Wednesday night, right? The vice presidential debate will happen next Wednesday.
Okay, good. And thank you. That's awesome. All right. So one thing before we move on, after all this, and I know somebody put it on there. What do you think?
He was a senator for 39 years, just in case anybody's counting. Yeah,
right.
Long time.
But when you look at that question, when they were saying, what do you think the online schools versus brick and mortar?
Yeah, I want to address this real quick, Krista. That's what I always do, 100%. If a candidate aligns with the Bible the best, I don't care what the party affiliation with them is. I don't even care if it's a major affiliation. This is, again, where I'm not a Republican per se. I'm an independent because I'll go small party, and people could say, well, you're throwing your vote away. No, everybody gets one vote.
Right.
I don't think like the majority. I promise you, I don't think like the majority in hardly anything. I get chastised by my Christian friends all the time. They like to pick on me too. Trust me. Go to my Facebook page. I get yelled at by Christians every single day. It is what it is. Okay, let's go to this. This is Jeannie, by the way. Hang on a second. It is Jeannie Ferguson is the person. The reason why you're seeing this, in case you're curious, Jeannie, is because I stream, even though you're coming to me from LinkedIn, I actually stream on StreamYard for YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn. We simulcast on all three. And you have to open up, if you want, you have to open up your security settings to allow the platform to share with third parties. If you want your picture to be seen or you want your name to be seen. If you don't care, I don't care. But I'm just letting you know in case you're curious why that is. Okay, so here we go. So Ira Joe, what is your thoughts online versus brick and mortar schools? Okay, so we could actually take this to business as well, but let's start with school, and I'll let you go first because I dominated the last.
Okay, well, I would say I have 4 children, 3 of which still go to school, and they're on a split schedule. So their split schedule is the high school goes. If I'm correct on this, the high school is for my girls, they're home Monday and Tuesday and Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday is e-learning for everybody. But Monday and Tuesday, they're home learning, doing Zoom calls or whatever. And then Thursday and Friday, they're actually in school. The other group is in school Monday and Tuesday. But as I say again, everybody is home on Wednesday. And then Thursday and Friday is their online or whatever. And Wednesday is considered e-learning for everybody.
You're in Indianapolis. I'm in California. In California, well, okay, so I think it's by county now. For the longest time by the state, we were all in isolation. But where we are in Southern California and in the Bay Area, that's where it was like the hot spots, right? So the
Right.
smaller, more rural communities like Sacramento and Bakersfield and the places that most of you probably never heard of, frankly, they didn't have COVID nearly as bad, right?
Right.
We can get into politics if you like, but who controls the areas where it's the worst? But anyways, that's probably going to rub some people the wrong way, but that's fine. Where I live, it's been horrible, right? So my kids are still 100% online. There is no in school. Now, I think down in San Diego, I saw, which is about an hour south of me, I think that they've started to open up the public schools again. They've been a little bit ahead of us the whole time as far as lower numbers and opening things back up. But in the Riverside County, which is where I live, Riverside County, it's pretty bad. So it's all online stuff. I hate it. My wife hates it. My kids hate it. So if you're asking me the merits of it, the public school system in California is awful anyways. But the public school system, e-learning, is like a waste of time. Some of my kids are finished with school in 30 minutes. Like they've done everything they need to do.
Right. My son's the same way. He
And
came in already and said, Dad, I'm done with all my work for today. And I go, what are you going to do?
in full disclosure, my wife and I, for 6 years, I think, maybe not quite that long, anyways, for a while, we homeschooled. We have 8 kids. We homeschooled. We homeschooled in Texas. We homeschooled in California. Then, because we go to conservative Christian churches, one of the churches that we were up in the Bay Area had a school, private school. So we converted from homeschool to that for 1 year. When we moved down here, we decided to put them in public school because there are advantages in our opinion, and this comes down to the E versus the brick and mortar, the relationships. Or like, the one thing about them being in school is they do get an opportunity to make more friends.
Right.
We go to church 3 times a week, but still there's a lot of time that if that's the only like interaction your kids have with other kids, it's not a lot.
Right.
So that was one of the reasons why we did it, like, for their social development. So like, okay, so we're going to put them in brick and mortar school, but because we've only lived here since December, we moved here at the very end of December. The kids started school in January. They really were only in school for a couple of weeks before the shutdown. And then so I don't know. Anyways, what I'm trying to say is we don't like the e-school. Now, the private school that they were in and the homeschooling that we did prior were e-learning video-based type programs, and they were much better. They're expensive, but they're much better, right? So I can't remember the name of the programs. We actually had 2 different programs that we were using when we homeschooled, and we liked them both. But, it was a few $1,000s per kid per year. And so it adds up when you have 8 of them. But now I have 2 kids in college, so it would only be 6. It wouldn't be quite as bad. But ironically, my daughter goes to a college in Florida, and they are doing all their classes in person. So the school itself is a little bubble. They have a medical bubble for, isolation. And so if you leave the campus for any reason to get back on the campus, you have to go through a protocol. And then they actually have a whole dorm set aside as a
Quarantine dorm.
Yeah, quarantine dorm. Thank you. For isolation. And I think it's like stay there for 2 weeks if you have any symptoms. to make sure you're good. But anyways, they told us the dean had a meeting the very first, like before even classes started, and said, look, we're going to try this. We really want to have on life campus and make it as normal as we can for the kids. As long as the kids aren't at risk, we're going to do it. And if we can get everybody to cooperate, right? There's hand sanitizer zones like every 10 feet. And they have to wear masks and all this stuff. So anyways, so far they haven't had any problems, which has been great. And so her freshman year, she's enjoying it. It's funny though, we were talking about this. My daughter's very first election is this one. And so I'm like, I don't tell her who to vote for. She knows my political philosophies. Trust me. Right. And she knows my wife's, and she knows the Bible. That's something. She's going to a Bible college. She's actually studying the Bible right now. So, I have a good idea who she's going to vote for. But the fact is, like, you want her to make up her own mind. You want her to have facts to base it on.
Right.
Just, let's have a beer and some popcorn as we try to figure out who we're voting for at this WWE rally, because that's what it more reminded me of. I don't even say UFC because I think the UFC promotions are more professional than the garbage that we were fed on a platter last night. Anyways.
All right. So
I do have to address one thing. Just stop it right now, or I will block you and you'll never be able to join us again. Don't spam my posts ever. Not interested in spam. Okay. So keep it professional, keep it friendly. I don't care if you promote your business a little bit, but tell me about your business and make a comment about it and tie
your LinkedIn profile
and tie it into the conversation.
Yep.
Don't just come here and spam me. Not interested in it.
Well, I put my profile up there for anybody to connect with me. So
see, Amy, this is what makes Iowa appealing to me. I want to take my wife out on a date. We had to go out last night. My wife is not driving. She's still recovering from her concussions, as it turns out. But anyways, she's still.
Yeah, I saw that. I think I saw the Facebook.
Yeah, so she's not driving, but she's like, you got to take me on a date. And I'm like, take you on a date? Like, nothing's even open. We could go through a drive-through. Our restaurants are drive-through only right now, or takeout. Right? You can't sit down. I haven't been to a sit-down restaurant since March.
We just opened up. Actually, Indiana just opened up. I think it's stage 5. That the restaurants and bars are fully. You could go in now.
So they had started to open up, and what it was you could sit at like every other table, but that was only for like a week or two, and then they said, yeah, we're not going to do that. So she needs more practice with concussions. Yeah, no doubt. This one's pretty bad. What happened was she had a concussion and then she got hit in the same spot, and that made it really bad after her flight. But anyways, adult children's present on social media. Are they LinkedIn? What do you think?
I want to answer this one. My daughter, my oldest, she's on both LinkedIn and Facebook and social media. But and I think you're talking about young adults. So my other daughter, who is 17, has a Facebook page. And I monitor it. It's not, she doesn't do anything bad. She has her own channel on Instagram or whatever. And I'm really proud of her because she really is out there. However, and that is true. Thank you, Andrew. I appreciate that.
He has more common sense to me, and probably more sense in the bank, frankly.
No, it wasn't from. Never mind. That's a whole nother. That's Joe After Dark. So we'll have to do another thing on that one. But not from lack of trying. But anyways,
baby, love Shaq.
But my 17-year-old, I'm gonna put her on LinkedIn. So right when she turns 18 and she graduates, her and I have already talked about. I think it's smart to be out there on LinkedIn and to start.
Let me jump in here. LinkedIn, guys, if you have a kid that's in high school, especially a senior, you need to start a LinkedIn account for them.
Correct.
They don't need to be active on the platform. You just need to get them started and get them building their network. I just had this conversation with my freshman. Okay. I talk to people all the time. For those of you who don't know, I run Project Help You Grow. It's the largest organic job search web assistance you're going to get 100% free. It's a philanthropy. For those of you who are Christians and you understand the term ministry, it's my ministry. Okay. I do it for free. So it's a large deal. Check it out. But I get questions from what we're going to call freshers, or you might call them freshly graduated, but freshers is the term. Okay. They graduated. They've been told their whole life by everybody who's lied to their face, whether they intended to or not, that getting that piece of paper is going to secure their future.
No, it's not.
It's like a magic pill, they think. I just need to go get that bachelor's degree or that master's degree or that doctorate, right? And all of a sudden, the world's going to open up to me, and that's horseshit. So I don't like to curse, but that is so egregious. There's no better way to say it because it's going to illustrate this is highlight the issue. The issue is it's not just what you know. It's also who you know, and it's also what you've done. Okay, there's three parts of this. Let me put it down to you in a very simple term. If I want to go get a job in business and I show up with my business degree, most positions that are going to be able to sustain my life are not going to be positions that I can get just with that piece of paper and no experience. Furthermore, 8 out of 10, listen to me now, all of you, I want you to turn up your freaking volume and listen to me. I do this more than you do. I do this more than most recruiters do.
I know you do. Sorry.
Okay? 8 out of 10 people do not find jobs on job boards. I run a job board. I know. Okay. How do people find a job? The number one way that people find job is by referral. You still have to have the piece of paper. I'm not saying don't get your education. 100% get your education. It does matter. But it's not the only factor in the equation, right? You also have to have experience. So what did I tell my daughter to do? And what is my daughter doing? My daughter is working while she goes to school on a work program so that when she graduates with her piece of paper, right, that says she's qualified, she also is going to have that 3 to 5 year of work experience that most entry-level jobs require. You have to have experience. If you don't have it, you will be behind the 8 ball, and you're going to be interning for free most likely when you're done. So if you want to go live on your own and not have mommy and daddy support you, you need to have some experience, and you can get that in a variety of ways. I've written a blog on this. You can go read it. It's called Building Blocks for Freshers on projecthelpyougrow.com. It's free. No spams, no ads, no. You don't get spams in my comments. You don't even get it on my website, dude. Okay, but here's the third part, and this is addressing this. Most people are not going to get an interview by applying through an ATS system. Let me tell you some hard facts that are going to rock your socks. Okay, here we go. 9 out of 10 Fortune 500, probably Fortune 1000, but I can't prove it. So I'm going to stick with Fortune 500 companies. Those are the largest companies in the world, just in case you don't know what that means. The largest companies in the world, 9 out of 10 use an ATS program for their hiring. Okay, that's one stat. Just set that to the side. 3 out of 4 people who apply for a job through a portal, through a company website, through a job board, whatever you want to call it, and they're different, but 3 out of 4 of all those people, that's 75%, will never have their resume actually looked at by a human being nor will they ever be considered because they weren't looked at by a human being. 9 out of 10 companies use an ATS in the Fortune 500, the largest companies in the world. These are the ones that you want your kids to work for, right?
Right.
That's why they go to school and spend $100,000, $200,000, $300,000. They get in so much debt, which is ridiculous, by the way. We can talk about that. To get that piece of paper because they think that that's the magic button, or the elixir, and it's not. It's a part of the equation, but it's not the whole part. You are not going to get hired just because you graduated from. You picked a school now. I don't care what school you pick. You want to pick some of the top schools in the country? Harvard, Stanford, Yale. You picked a school. You picked a school. Berkeley, UCLA, USC. I don't care. You picked a school. That's not enough. Because the competition, dude, is higher than you've ever seen in your life. And it doesn't even matter. The fact is, you have to know people. I know Joe Stepke, right? I know a lot of people. Michael Connor, Damon, Andrew. There's a lot of my friends in the audience right now. Okay. If I'm looking for a job, the number one thing that's going to help me is not how awesome my resume is, even though my resume is awesome. And I use it as a template. I give it to people for free, by the way, as a template so that they can set up their ATS compliant resume in a format that will get through the ATS programs. But the fact is, because I network with so many people, I have like a network of champions, if you will, who would keep their eye out for me. It's like Bowman Digital Media. I'm looking for
Ambassadors.
Yeah, I'm looking for I'm looking for customers right now, right? I'm looking for customers right now. Those people you have referred me to people.
I was talking to somebody yesterday because I know a guy.
There's people in the audience who have all sent me clients, right? I mean, that's what networking does. So I'm gonna tell you that Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Pinterest, all that stuff, I don't know that I would recommend it for youngins because of all the junk that goes on. And even on LinkedIn, there is sexual stuff. Okay. I mainly hear this from the ladies, and it's disgusting. It's deplorable. It's all those adjectives. It shouldn't happen. This is not Tinder. Right? There's no swiping left or right or whatever the hell it is. But it does happen.
Right.
That ugliness shouldn't preclude you from being on the platform. It just should teach you
to not connect with those people.
Well, but also how to report it, how to block people, and and online safety and all those things. You should, it's a good way to teach your kids. But they can build their relationships. Look, I started in earnest on LinkedIn in 2009 using the platform, but I didn't start building my network really until 2018. And look what I've done in 2 years. I've added almost 200,000 people. And I have added 200,000 people if you count my business efforts, right? Like Project Help You Grow has 22,000 followers. Bowman Coaching has 4,800 followers. Bowman Digital Media, after 4 months, has over 2,100 followers. I think I'm at 2,200 actually. So, you add all that stuff up and I'm over 200,000. So imagine a kid who's 17, 18, 19, whatever, who starts a LinkedIn account. And by the time they turn 21, they have 200,000 followers. There's a network that they can it's a platform that they can use as a foundation to do whatever they want.
Right.
Now you can launch your own business because you can support yourself. I'm telling you, if you get 200,000 followers, I'll teach you, if you don't know how, to monetize that. It's not hard. That's what I've done. Bowman Digital Media couldn't have sustained itself the way I'm doing it now. I'm bootstrapping it. It couldn't have sustained itself with 1,500 people. That's what I had in May of 2018. I had 1,500 connections and only 1,400 followers. Right? Couldn't have done it. I needed to work for other people. But now the who I know allows me to do this. And so I'm all for getting these kids, as they're maturing into adults, onto social media, teach them how to be safe, teach them how to be professional. show them the presidential debate from last night and say, don't do this, right?
I'm going back to that.
Well, I can't help it because
I
it's
know, but man,
disturbing. Look, I made a Bowman coaching video that Mike O'Connor swears is for him. And maybe it is, I don't know, subconsciously, but I didn't do it on purpose. But it could easily apply to those jerks from last night too. And I say that with the utmost respect for the future president of the United States, whoever that might be. But the fact is, be nice, right? So teach them social etiquette, teach them how to be professional.
Right.
It's a good learning experience. And I'm going to tell you something else. Maybe it's a way for your kids to see you in a different light too. My kids all know, I mean, everybody in my family knows now that I'm whatever I am on social media. You know what I mean? Like I have a bigger network, whatever that means. So, it's kind of cool, but they know why I've done it and they know what I'm trying to accomplish with it. And they know that, frankly, I feed them through those efforts, right? They get it. Like, wow, Dad, that's pretty cool. You can sell video services and build websites and make videos and all the other things that I do. It's not a commercial for Bowman Digital Media. But anyways, right? I mean, but that's the value in it. And it's not even for entrepreneurs only. Like I can find a sales job. If I wanted to go back into sales, I could find a sales job like that. Why? A, because I know the market. B, because I know the ATS. And C, because I know a ton of people. But also to the point about experience, I have 20 plus years of business to business sales experience.
Right.
With a record that's impeccable. Like I have the stats that any sales manager or business owner would go like, I would love to have you on my team.
Right.
And so do you. Anyways.
Well, thank you.
Mike actually is nice. Don't let his shtick fool you. This dude is nice, and look, I'm gonna tell you something about Mike. I'm gonna make Mike blush a second.
Well, he did. Wait a minute. Hold on a minute. He did say he's nice. What he's saying is you don't have to be terribly professional if you're nice.
True. And he can fly off the handle sometimes because, he's an emotional guy. The thing about Mike is he has a heart that most people just don't get.
Right.
He really cares about stuff. And so he can't always let it go when it would be politically expedient to just let it go. Right. Again, politics. I'm sorry. But let me tell you about Michael O'Connor. I love this dude. I could get a CMO job for $250 a year. I could actually. I've been offered some stuff like that. So, but here's the thing about Mike. He is quick to apologize, and that's where a lot of people have forgotten. Like civility includes owning your mistakes publicly. Like if you're gonna, and this is what Mike will tell you, the apology needs to match the egregious. It's like if you go and make a public rant about something, like for example, I ripped the power company a new one on social media. I was nice about it, but I really did. I put them on blast. Why? Because for 9 months I couldn't get a power bill, which I thought was totally ridiculous. Everybody with a brain would think that's ridiculous. Think about that. For 9 months I lived in my house, ran the power every single day, never had an issue getting the power, but they never sent me a bill. They would give me an email that told me the total, but not the bill. And it's like, I'm not paying it until I see why the number is that number. You've got to actually show me because I'm into the details. Anyways, so we had that fight. So I put it on social media. I blasted them. They took care of it. They even gave me a discount, which I appreciated. And I actually think that was the fair thing to do. And I explained to them why. I said, because, if I had known these things, I could have made some adjustments. But because the numbers were so high, I actually just thought it was an error. And that's why I wanted to see the usage consumption. Anyways, right. Just turns out it's really, really expensive to have power in California. Who knew? Anyways, again, politics. We could talk about elections have consequences. We never met a tax in California we didn't like. I'm just going to put it that way. But anyways, if you're going to blast somebody like I did, then what did I do? When they fixed it, I publicly praised them. I gave them a second post. I tagged them just like I did in the first. And I said, hey, Thank you very much. This is the issue that I had. You guys resolved it quickly, gave them praise, and boom. And that's Mike would do that, right?
Right.
The reason why you make more public apologies is because you also step in it first.
He's got a point, Mike. He does.
It takes both.
But I love you, Mike. I think you're great.
I don't like Mike. You know why? So yesterday we're doing speed networking with Mike and Ira. First of all, I want to congratulate myself on restraint because I did not mute that guy. Look, you know what would make the debate more fun? They should forget the moderator the mute button. They should give the candidates mute buttons. Like you can mute them, but it only works when they're talking, right? So if I'm talking, I can hit mute and it mutes the other guy's mic. And then you would know if they like it or not. I think they kind of like it sometimes. But anyways, I didn't mute Mike, so that's my pat on the back. But we have these people come in, and somebody brought up this idea of Team Mike and Team Ira, like you're at a wedding and you got to pick, are you for the groom or the bride? I guess.
Or I actually would have used Twilight.
Right, and I was trying to think of that.
Team,
yeah, because there was the wolf and the vampires, right?
Yeah, Jacob was the wolf. Team Jake was the wolf, and Team Edward. That's what it was, Edward.
All right, I was trying to think of that, and I couldn't think of it last night because, well, I don't watch that stuff. But anyways, I was trying to think of it, and I couldn't. So, yeah, so that. And I'm like, first of all, most of you have trouble distinguishing Mike and Ira because you know us both together. We run. It's really hard to separate us because we run together so much, right? There's Project Help You Grow. Somebody told Mike or asked Mike, which is hilarious to me, why did he create SPN to imitate Project Help You Grow? And I'm like, dude, that's revisionist history. It's hilarious to me. It's totally not accurate. Look, just for any of you,
SPN is nothing like Project Help You Grow.
First of all, it's not, right? They complement each other, but they're not.
Right, but that's
they don't imitate each other. But honestly, if it wasn't for SPN, Project Help You Grow would not exist. Because just for the record, for those of you who have only followed me recently, you don't know, you haven't followed me the whole time. Like you and I were connected before I started to grow. So you've seen the whole thing.
Right.
But I was watching, I was scrolling LinkedIn one day and I watched a video that Mike had put out. And in the video, I don't even remember what the video was about anymore. I just remember at the end of the video, he said something to the effect of, my number's in my profile. If you're smart, you'll call me. And I'm like, well, I'm smart. So I called him. Now I called him as I got in my car to commute my 3-hour commute home. And he picked up the phone, which was interesting. He talked to me. We talked the whole time. Like I hung up as I pulled in my driveway. I'm like, I got to go. I'm home. Right. We weren't friends at that point, but actually after the 3 hours, I guess I would have considered us friends really. But that phone call changed my life and the lives of hundreds of thousands of other people who have used Project Help You Grow. Because what Mike did is he explained to me rudimentarily, I would say now, but back then it was like a masterclass in LinkedIn because I had no idea how all this stuff really worked. So we talked about, how to build the network, why you want the network, how it would help me sell more printers in the Bay Area, right? I mean, we went through it and it was a great conversation. So anyways, that conversation, we never talked about, me starting Project Help You Grow. That term never existed. We never talked about me getting into the job stuff and helping people that way. But what we just talked about was the growth and the importance of the growth. But that conversation changed the way I thought. And my idea for Project Help You Grow, the group, and even the project itself, was a growth incubator for keeping people safe but giving them a safe way to growth. That all started from a conversation I had with Mike O'Connor, and SPN was already in existence, right? It already existed. So for those of you who think that Mike is copying me, no, Mike didn't copy me. Now I like to say I took what Mike taught me and ran with it. And I'll let you just look at how it's gone since then. That's a little dig at my buddy. He knows. But really, most of you in the audience, if you know me or you know Mike, you know us both as running mates. I mean, we do a lot of stuff together.
Right.
If anybody bashes SPN, they might as well just drop me from their network because my heart's all in on SPN. Why
Right.
would it's a project that's its goal is to help people improve their network to build and expand their audience in a way that promotes treating people the way you want to be treated, following the gold rule. And when I got involved in SPN, it was a major thing. We were raising money for nonprofits, which is another thing that my heart is all about, helping people, right? So anyways, Mike and Ira are like brothers. If you come at one, you're going to come at both.
Right.
It's a package deal. He said we make a good vegetable, a pretty vegetable, because I said we're like peas in a pod. But really, we're more like twins. We're like Danny.
I'm trying to think of a good vegetable to say.
We're
But
more like Danny DeVito and Arnold Schwarzenegger. And unfortunately, I'm Danny DeVito in this analogy. So it is what it is. Because Mike, if you don't know, Mike's like 6'5" and I'm 5'8". So I'm the short man in the
yeah.
in the pair. Like he could put his lean his arm on the top of my head, and I'll punch him in the nads. If you ever do that, Mike, I will punch you straight in the nads, just so you know. I'm not kidding either. I will do it. Because that's brotherly love.
Right.
But he could like physically like lean on my head. Anyways.
Not to mention he was what MMA fighter.
Whatever.
But still, he was
3-3 record. I'm not impressed.
Whatever. Better than your record, Ira.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
So you were an MMA fighter.
I'm undefeated.
You're an.
Think about that.
Yeah,
never
thought about it. Yeah, loophole.
Never been defeated, bro. Oh, I would get in the MMA cage. I'd still do it today. So the thing that you guys don't know about me, again, because I don't broadcast my whole life, but I grew up wrestling. I took judo lessons and boxing lessons, but I was a wrestler through high school, right? I didn't wrestle in college because I went to San Jose State the first go around and they didn't have a wrestling team. They did have a world-class judo team, but I didn't do that. Instead, I played rugby. For those of you who are curious.
My oldest daughter did rugby.
Yeah, combat sports don't scare me. I'm the guy, you want to know, really? I'm the guy who likes to fight. I have to tell myself not to fight because it doesn't represent who I want to represent, right? That idea of fighting. But the actual act of fighting itself, both hitting and being hit, by the way. So, anyways, yeah, I'm not that guy. I'm not really the guy that you want to mess with. When it comes down to that, I was in a lot of street fights as a kid.
Interesting.
Yeah, but I look like a dork, right? But I was a trained fighter, and so I wasn't afraid to fight. And so it was kind of one of those things where I moved around a lot. People didn't know, and they would pick on me or they'd pick on somebody near me, and I'd tell them to knock it off, and then they'd get smart. What do you want to do about it? You know what I mean? One of those things. You've seen them. Anyways, I got in those fights all the time.
Yeah, I seen the ABC after school special on
that. I ditched sponsors. What sponsor doesn't like Ira? There's only a guy that was trying to steal my stuff. He had a sponsor that basically was trying to like steal my clients and steal my ideas, and I told this sponsor to go away. Anyways, we can talk about that sometime. Dude, it's an hour in. We've carried.
And I want to, you know what? We didn't even talk about the article that I'm going to be doing out.
We'll talk about it.
Well, it's going to be about, well, one, how I was talking to other gaming and electronic customers. You know how Joe, the finance guy, does like cell phones and handheld electronics.
Yep.
To try to help boost their sales, those companies' sales.
So let's get into that for a second. Let's just qualify that. We know that 69% of Americans don't have $1,000 in the bank. A lot of these devices are $1,000 or more.
Right.
Like, for example, my camera. The camera I got is the Canon EOS 90. I got it because it shoots 4K film. So I can do high quality photos and high quality videos for social media.
Right.
But now I have, in full disclosure, I have more than $1,000 in the bank because I'm good with math and I'm good with finances. But most people don't. If I was going to buy this, and I'm the average American, I would need to finance. I would need a finance
You would
option.
need you would need a payment option.
I would need some assistance.
Correct.
Right. Okay.
And that's where Joe, the finance guy, comes into play.
Yeah.
And because we're all about increasing your retail sales through the no credit needed payment option that I offer. So with that being said, there was a study done, on the article. It's about gaming. And since all these kids, and let's talk about my son. Remember I said, and your son, he's done in 30 minutes, 30 minutes is schoolwork, right?
Yeah.
The same thing with my son. And guess what they end up doing? They'll go and they get on the PC.
My son's on the Switch all day long.
Yeah. And my son is Xbox One or his PC. And I learned on there that gaming has helped with the kids with some normalcy back during this whole pandemic. So I'll be sending out that article. I believe I'll be doing it. I was going to wait till next week, but I might even do it tomorrow, the 1st, and just start anew and just send it out. But that article will be coming out.
This is why I hate Mike right here.
Team Taylor. Who's Taylor?
So I was saying Team Mike and Team Ira.
Uh-huh.
So anyways, I forgot to finish the story. She's like, yeah, I'm Team Mike. I'm like, I connected to this lady within 24 hours. She's like, but Mike connected with me first. And I'm like, you little sucker. I'm talking to a 6'5" guy now when I say this, but like, you know what I mean? Dang. Anyways.
All right. Anyways. And that's good. I'm Team Ira and Mike, so it has to be both.
Yeah. Why do you have to choose?
Right. Why do you have to choose? I'm Team both. But anyways, going back, if there is gaming retailers out there that need an alternative funding,
There's got to be.
There are. I mean, I know a few. I know one person or one company that has been struggling that they finally went into, and I'm the one that actually started talking to them about using a no credit needed payment option and they went with somebody else, but they're using the tools I gave them.
When does the article drop? When's it coming?
The article will drop tomorrow.
Okay, because I actually, in full disclosure, was going to post that yesterday. Not the article, but something along those lines. I was just thinking, like, I have a gaming computer. It's been modified for what I do, but I started with a gaming computer base because I needed the speed and the processing and the video graphics card and all that stuff. It's very similar, right? That's what I use for my business. So, but that's what put it in my head. I'm like, my computer, the CPU, just the CPU was $2,000.
Right.
And I know that, and I know the stats.
Especially on the e-commerce platform, Ira. Oh my gosh, you could be doing, and I really wish that company would have followed, because I'm not going to give them any more help or anything on there because they went with somebody else, even though the guy keeps like messaging me for other information.
This is revisionist history. I did not make the teams. Now, in full disclosure, I don't think it was Taylor that made the teams either. I think it was Tina Rock, Michael, who said Team Ira or Team Mike. Or no, you know who it was? I remember. It was anyways. I didn't make the. Mike might not have been in the room. Actually, I'm thinking about it now. I think at the table where I was sitting at, Mike wasn't there, so now I get why he thinks I did it, but I didn't. Somebody else brought it up. I don't think like in that.
Right.
What did you say? It's from Twilight? Now,
well,
I think I've seen that movie. Like, I know there's more than one.
Oh, I don't know what you're talking about. I've never seen that.
It's a book series that they made into a movie. And my daughter,
I know.
My daughter and my son always say the book's way better than the movie, which I tell them it's always that. That's always.
I didn't read the book, but the movie was actually really good.
Well, we're nerds. We read. So.
Yeah, but I didn't read the book. I watched the movie.
But anyways,
the book.
I don't think in terms. Look, you're more likely to get a sports analogy from me in teams that way. but like Mike and I aren't in competition. That's what's funny. We talk.
It needs to be both.
I talk to Mike O'Connor on the phone more than anybody else on the planet. Like we call each other. I don't even say it's Ira or any of that formal stuff. I say, "What's up?" Something like that. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
"What's up?" Like a Budweiser commercial. What's happening? You remember those?
Yeah. What's up?
Yeah, wasabi and all that stuff. So I mean, that's Mike and I. We start, but we talk strategy, like just like non-filtered all day long. He and I don't have. I don't think I don't have secrets from him. I mean, I tell him everything. So, like, what am I trying to do? What am I thinking? How am I going to do it? And he gives me tips. Like, he turned me on to a Fiverr guy for a video. I ran a test. I did a Fiverr video. I paid somebody $27 to help me build backlinks on one of my videos for a client. And anyways, it's an experiment to see how it goes. It's going pretty good. I'm excited about it. But, Mike gave me that information. I didn't know who to use, whatever, So anyways, but he and I talk about stuff like that all the time. So we're not in competition. So I don't think that way, Michael. But now I do. And Team Taylor's going down. So I'm Team Tina Rock. Anyway.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's speed networking on Tuesdays with Mike and Ira. You can get it. But hey, we had a good time yesterday. We had 150 people sign up on the event page on LinkedIn. Now, in full disclosure, we're having trouble getting people to go from LinkedIn to Remo. The event is there. But you've been on Remo lots of times.
I like it.
It's a really cool platform because you sit at a table with 5 other folks. So there's 6 total people. And you all have, a video so you can have a conversation. We do them for 5 minutes each. We have multiple rounds, but 5 minutes each. So you sit at a table with 5 other people for 5 minutes. You have a conversation. The timer goes off. We go to another table. You talk to 5 other people. And by the time you're done, you get to meet everybody. Now, what we did differently this time, if you've ever been to like a BNI networking event or something like that, where they have elevator pitch time, so everybody stands up 30 seconds and does their little spiel, tells you who they are and what they're about. We did that yesterday, and it was a lot of fun. We're actually going to change it up and do it a little bit differently next time. We've made some improvements based on feedback that we got from Jeff and Tina and Taylor, a few of them that stuck around later. We were kind of talking about how it went, what we could do better. Anyways, we this is the most true statement he's said all day. We are a team, but he collects his money and I collect my money, but we work together a lot, right? So anyways, and SPN doesn't compete with anybody, and neither does Project Epic. Bowman Digital Media technically does, but I don't look at it that way. I'm just out there trying to do what I can do to help people. So, but anyways.
I just sent you a copy of the video game article.
Okay, cool. I didn't know you already had it. Well, I'm going to start. I'm going to.
No, I want it. Now, remember, I'm dropping it on.
I'm going to tease it a little bit.
Okay, that's fine.
Do some teasers. Where are you dropping it on? It's dropping on Joe the Finance Guy?
It could.
It should.
Nudge, nudge, wink, wink.
Yeah, it should.
But I'm dropping it on Joe.
I know a guy.
Yeah, I know a guy. I'm dropping it on Joe's, the Joseph Stepke one on LinkedIn. And then I know a guy that's probably going to put it on my website. I'm sure he will.
And you need to make a video, and we'll embed the video.
Yes, I need to do the video. I'm sure he's going to add some pictures to the article too, just to jazz it up, because he always does that when I give him an article or whatever.
It's what we do, brother.
I know.
We can have a boom box. No, wait, it's not electronics. Oh, we could have somebody gaming.
Yeah, gaming, right?
That'd be fun. We could even do a gaming GIF.
God, that would be cool if I could incorporate my son with that. That would have been awesome.
Good.
I got to think of that.
Shoot a video that's like 3 seconds long of him gaming. Maybe he's like got the paddle and he's excited, or he's pissed off, right? He died. Be fun.
I could do something. I wonder if he would for me. He'd do it. He'd do it for me.
Yep. Anyways,
that's cool.
We'll talk about that offline.
All right.
Guys, we're an hour and 15 minutes in. This has been, you know what? I do want to go a little bit longer because I want to talk about this. I compete with my crazy self. This is Damon. He's my business partner at Exit Your Way. Love him.
Damon.
Coming to us from Seattle, Washington. So it's 7:15 in the morning.
You know, I missed the team. I went on Nick's and Kelly's thing last night.
I watched that last night at 11 o'clock.
I watched that when it was going live.
Did you notice his GIF in the corner?
Yeah, the smiley face thing.
In full disclosure, I made all his graphics. But I love that GIF because the smiley face winks at you. It's the only one I've done where it actually winks. It's hilarious.
Well, I put in there that I said, I'm sorry I've been dark on LinkedIn. I miss actually my friends. I miss Damon, Nick, Kelly. I miss all of the Erica. I miss that I can't talk to them.
Yeah.
I miss everyone. And it's only because I've been working and out on the road. And
Erica and Virginia have been kind of MIA for a while, but both of them actually were on the speed networking event last night. So again,
really? Oh man.
Yeah. So I told everybody at speed networking, Virginia is the only person I fear on LinkedIn.
Yeah. She's our lawyer.
I said, look, it's not just that. It's part of it. And that's what I said. I said, look.
That's the big part of it.
I said, look, but she's ex-military.
Oh, that too.
She's ex-military. She's in shape, bro.
Yeah, she is.
She's 50.
She's in shape.
She's 50-ish years old too. I don't want to give away her age, but she's 50-ish. And yeah, she was a lawyer for 20 years. So she's smart, she's in shape, and she's been trained to kill. I mean,
all right, give the plug to Damon and them because I have to get to work. So
yeah, get to work. I want to say this. This is what I do, and this is a healthy thing. And this is why I want to end with this. It's healthy, okay? Instead of looking at, for like me, looking at Mike O'Connor or somebody and thinking of them as a rival, right? Which I don't do. Mike's my buddy, right? And so we don't compete with each other. But what I do, so instead of looking at somebody else and saying, that's the benchmark, I want to, be like them, because you really don't know them. You don't know their struggles. You only know what you think you know about them.
Right.
They allow you to see and know. So your perception is probably far, far off. Instead, what I do is try to be a better version of myself today than I was yesterday. And tomorrow I'll try to be a better version of myself than I was today, if you can follow me, right? So in Damon's line of thinking, I'm right there. I compete with Ira. I want to be the best version of Ira that I can possibly be. And at the end of the race, I'll know. Like, how many times did I fall short? How many times did I hit the goal? You know what I mean? Because that's ultimately what it is. It's like, right. I was born in a certain place at a certain time with certain things, and you were born in a different place with a different time with different things. So at the end of our life, if you end up here and I end up there, how do we compare that really? All we can really compare is where we could have ended up if we had made different choices.
Correct.
For better or for worse. So to compete with yourself really is the only fair thing intellectually that you can do. Correct. Now, if you're hard on yourself, if you're a hard grader, you can actually do a lot. But that's really what people should do. Instead of getting jealous of other people. Like when other people gain 100,000, I'm going to tell you, my friend Kirsty Bonner. My friend Kirsty Bonner, when I met her, she had a smaller network than I did, and we were in a similar space. I could have been tore up with jealousy that she passed me by like a dirty shirt, right? I mean, she did. She had 2.3 million followers the day she died.
Right.
I don't even have 200,000 followers personally. You know what I mean? On my personal account. So, like, I could have looked at her and go, oh, man, I need to be her. But I could never be Kirsty Bonner. I don't even try to be her now. You know what I mean? Like, there's a void there. But I can't fill it because I'm Ira Bowman. But I can be a better Ira Bowman today than I was yesterday, and that's the goal. So,
right.
Anyways, we'll end the show with that. Look, I think I'll have to look at the numbers, but I kind of liked this earlier.
I do too, because I've been looking at the numbers. I had LinkedIn on my phone because it works better instead of me having it on the computer. But I've had it on the phone, and we fluctuated from 25 to 17 to 24 to, I think we got more now than we did prior.
Yeah, so keep an eye out for the Ira guide. I don't really make show announcements like, hey, watch me tomorrow at 6 a.m. I don't do that. But I have on, if you go to my profile, go to the featured, view Ira's profile and then go to the featured. It's the very first thing. I have the Ira guide. I'm going to update that. The ABC show has been canceled, just so everybody knows, right? It doesn't exist anymore. So it didn't work. It's not Alon's fault. I thought he was great. I thought the information was great. But, the voters voted by the lack of participation. And so I don't want to do a show that nobody's going to watch. And it's not fair to him or to my time. So that show is officially no more. But
Cup of Joe could go on next week.
yeah, Cup of Joe will be, I think we're going to do this weekly. So
All
that'll
right.
be good. It's like Seinfeld, guys, because we don't have a script. It could be anything. I did talk a lot about the debates.
Well, it's all right with that one, but
my brain hurts. My brain hurts because I was so disappointed. I was actually looking forward to hearing them talk about their policies because they are very different, right? But anyways, we've already covered all that. So next week it'll be something completely different. Like the very first episode,
we'll probably talk about the reason why I'm taking collagen at 50.
Probably not. But
I think I'd want to go to that for a minute. Why not?
We could. I mean,
why not?
If you want me to teach,
I should have my bat suit by then.
That would make a show.
It sure would. I could probably not.
What I really want to see is you getting in it. You'd have to like suck in your gut, and is it like a corset where you got to get some?
I don't actually have to suck it in because the suit was made to me.
They built it for you.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I got to tell you, James Wang is the person that did it. His website is buyfullbodyarmor.com, and he is just amazing. Great person.
I watched the show last night, Dame, at 11 o'clock. I was putting out a video. I was making a video, which is really funny because you don't usually make a video while you're watching another video, but I almost always have something going in the background. And so I was listening to them. I really like Panano's. I like Nick Dorsey. I like his show.
Yep.
It's fun. It's kind of like this because he doesn't have a script either. But anyways.
And Kelly talked about like how Pana, she always does that though, how Pana came about.
Yeah, it's wisdom. It's poly for wisdom is what it is, the Pana. So anyway.
But I miss my friends. I actually really do. So I'm glad I'm working.
Yeah.
On
yeah.
site.
I miss our conversations too. So I like it better.
I know, and I'm sorry I cut you off. Like I was so short yesterday. I just wanted to let you know that, and I had to get back to work. But
I'm short every day. So
that's not what I meant. 5'8". And I'm probably about the same height, so I can't.
Well, it's all right. It's okay. I can beat you in a race because you got a little bit of a limp. So.
Oh, that's good. And a sprained ankle now too, but that's all right.
Do you really?
I gotta get going. I'm even past
here. Hey, throw the fedora on. We'll dance.
Oh God, you want me to get the fedora?
I know you got it. There it is.
Now it's blue. It's not my black one, but
that's fine. It works.
Fedora on.
Next week, 9 a.m. Eastern, 6 a.m. Really? 6 a.m., Joe.
6 a.m. is good for me.
All right. We'll do it. Peace.
Peace.
I can't dance. I should invest in some dance lessons.
I could get jiggy with it a little bit.
Come on.